Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Midnight Sports Talk, the talk show and podcast of Midnight Sports Today. I am joined with a very special guest. He was at the forefront of the Todd Graham controversy at the University of Hawaii, but that does not define this man. Not only is he had a phenomenal prep career at Kapolei High School, he journeyed to Pima Community College in Arizona, I believe, to play junior college. Then he came back to the University of Hawaii, and most recently, he had a standout performance in the University of Hawaii spring game, getting 2 interceptions. Welcome to the show, Leonard Lee. Leonard, thank you so much for being here.
How you doing? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And, we got so much to cover, especially on what happened. But let's talk about right now. What have you been up to, and how has the football season been coming along?
It's been going good. Just finished spring ball. Had a good spring for the most part. Still got a lot to work on, but it's kind of it right now. We're in that transition phase where we're going into workouts now. So like running, conditioning, lifting, and stuff like that. And then it's gonna take us into fall camp in a couple months.
Yes, and obviously that leads to your opening game against Vanderbilt in Hawaii. In your last game, the spring game, you had a phenomenal performance, 2 interceptions. Let's talk about that spring game. What was that like for you, and how do you feel about your performance?
It was good. It was good. I don't really know how to explain it. I mean, I'm just happy. I'm grateful I get to play again. Obviously the cliches, of course, but it really was just team effort, and it was good to have fun out there and just play football, really.
Absolutely. And, your entire life has been defined by football, and you've been coached by legends such as, of course, Timmy Chang, who at one point was the all-time NCAA passing yard leader. But going back to your high school, you were coached by head coach Darren Hernandez, local Hawaii high school legend, and also former University of Hawaii head coach June Jones. What was it like playing for those guys in high school?
It was a crazy experience, just because at that young age, that level, at high school football, you're not really exposed to those kind of minds. It's not often a Division I football coach and someone who came from the NFL and stuff is able to teach you and coach you. So it was good. It kind of just gave you a little insight into college football and how it would be. And then I don't know, it gives you like a lot of confidence too, because you're being coached by the best. You're that their words are filled with knowledge and experience behind it. So it was a great experience. I'm really grateful for it. Coach Hernandez, Coach Jones, all those guys at high school that really just helped me out and helped me become a better player.
Of course, and obviously they brought a lot of knowledge, but you had to put it together upon your football journey. Obviously now you're at the Division I level, but your journey was a little different than what is portrayed mostly in the media. Can you talk about your recruiting process and what eventually had you ending up at Pima Community College?
Yeah, so I had a good senior year. I had a good showing in like the volleyball and all that. And then I didn't really get any schools, any looks or anything like that. I mean, I had some schools talk to me and kind of, I don't know, say they were interested, but it wasn't real, like, I guess, recruiting for the most part. I think I got like 1 piece of mail my whole high school career. And yeah, I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know what junior college was, honestly. And then one of the Pima coaches called me, and they were calling my phone for a while, and I wasn't answering, actually, just because I didn't know if it wasn't Division I, then I wasn't listening, which was really foolish on my part. But I ended up answering the call one day. This was after signing day, and I was kind of bummed because I didn't get to sign anywhere, and I didn't know where I was going to go for school, and I didn't know if I was going to even play football in college, honestly. And then I answered the phone with Pima, and they told me they would pay for everything. I just got to buy food up there. So they paid for my housing and tuition, and I was asking God for a sign, and then that happened the next day. So I was like, oh, I guess this is my sign. So I ended up signing there at Pima just because it was the best financially, and I still had a chance to go to another university after that, or go to a university after that, I should say.
Absolutely. And I've talked to several people who've gone the junior college route. Most of them were in California, so they had a little bit different experience. Can you talk about what it was like going to Pima, leaving home and playing in JUCO, something that is often portrayed as hard and rigorous, and really just it weeds out people that football just isn't for them.
Yeah, that I would definitely say it's hard and rigorous, all those words you use, just because, you know, especially from being from Hawaii, you kind of get that culture shock a little bit, and it's weird to be around like different groups of people and people you're not used to. You're in a state with different temperatures and just different mannerisms. Everything is different, so it was tough. I honestly hated it at first. I wasn't gonna stay the 2 years. I was like, I'm just gonna go to December. Once winter break comes around, I'm gonna probably just go home and stay home and working. And then I just kept sticking out a little bit longer, and then I ended up loving it. It was one of like the best experiences of my life, just because I don't know. I took it as like, oh, I'm here. There's nothing else I can do. So I changed my whole like approach to it, and it was good because I got to just experience different things. Driving for 6 hours, I got to play football, and uh, it was good too. It was a little humbling experience also with football, just because you know, as I said, I didn't know what junior college was in high school, and I remember I got to junior college and I was thinking like, oh, these guys are just guys who aren't good enough to go Division 1, or just guys who wasn't that good at football. And then I realized like, we're playing against guys who came from a Division 1 or going Division 1 or should have been going to big Division 1 schools. And I kind of like ate a humble pie my freshman year, and then I realized like, okay, like this is real football, and guys over here are hungry and all trying to prove something. So it was a wake up call. It was a good humbling experience overall, and it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but you highlighted a very important, interesting point for a lot of kids from Hawaii who go to the mainland for college, which is that culture shock. Can you go a little bit more into detail about what are some of the things that shocked you, and what did you have a little bit of difficulty adjusting to?
It was little things really. It's like, holding the door open for people and like them not saying thank you, or just I don't know if the aloha spirit I should say, but like just just kindness and the mannerisms of people were just different. Even like when it came to playing football, guys were kind of like, I don't know, a little more on the cocky end. Like Hawaii boys, you kind of just, you know, all for each other and working with each other and stuff like that. And up there was kind of like everybody's just trying to get their own, and you kind of just see the difference in mindsets with people.
So, with that being said, on the football field, did that change how you went about the game or the way that you played?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I kind of ate a humble pie my freshman year, and then I lost a little bit of confidence, and I was kind of like questioning myself, and then I kind of just, I don't know, got a lot of times when I question that, I just watch like old highlights of myself just to remind myself that I can play football and I'm able to play football and I know how to play football. So it wasn't really their mindsets changing. It was just kind of me getting out of my own head.
Um, I totally hear that. So let's fast forward a little bit. Obviously, you complete your 2 years at Pima. Were you recruited out of junior college, or was it always a goal for you to come to UH as a walk on?
It was kind of the same as high school, the recruiting experience. I didn't get much love or attention in junior college. I mean, I pretty much did all the things I did in high school and junior college, but that's just kind of how it rolls sometimes in recruiting. And I didn't have really anywhere to go. I had a couple like small D1 double A's or uh, other like D2s that I could have went to, and they would have provided like some sort of scholarship, like a partial scholarship, whatever. But I always wanted to play at Hawaii out of high school. I mean, I used to tell people like even if I was like a 4 or 5 star recruit with big time offers, I would still go to University of Hawaii just because I love Hawaii and I always wanted to play here. That was just, I don't know, something that always felt like meant something to me.
Yeah, no, that's a sentiment that's shared by a lot of Hawaii boys. I mean, if I was ever good at football, I would have done the same thing, and that is something that has been expressed a lot by this new coaching staff who are University of Hawaii alumni. You came to UH to play under another University of Hawaii alumnus, Nick Rolovich. What was that like, the walk-on process and going through that whole basically journey, basically at the lowest point in order to become a member of the team?
It was good. It was another rough kind of transition just because when I came from junior college, I didn't have enough transferable credits, so I had to redshirt that year. I was forced to redshirt, so I was on the team, but I wasn't really, I don't know. It was just kind of like I was really only practicing and lifting because I couldn't compete or I couldn't play. So that was kind of rough, but it was good. I kind of got a taste of what it's like to be at a Division I program, and you get meals now, and your teammates with people that you seen playing in high school or you played against in high school. So it was a cool experience, and it was good. I was grateful for all of that, even though I couldn't play that year and I wasn't eligible. I still enjoyed it, and I was happy to be there.
Can you go more into detail about what you said was now you can get meals? Were you not fed in JUCO, or how did that work out?
We weren't starving like how some people make it out to be, but I mean we didn't get any sort of like meals after practice or after weight training. We used to just get peanut butter jelly sandwiches after weights, and I mean that was still something. I was so happy for that because we in high school we didn't get any food, and it was kind of just one of those situations that whatever again, I'm grateful for it. So then when I came to UH, we had so when we have padded practices, I think we get 2 meals a day, or we're guaranteed 1 meal a day with a padded practice. And then during the season you get meals because every day, because you have padded practice every day, but times like spring ball you get every other day, or fall camp every day or whatever. But yeah, it was good. I'm grateful for those meals. I mean, it wasn't as bad as people make it out to be in junior college, like I said, or at least for my experience. But I mean, we still had some sort of food there.
I got you. And one of the things I want to bring up now is that there was a initiative made in order to kind of supplement the nutritional shortcomings from the university called Fruition for Nutrition. Can you kind of speak on that? How has it helped out, if it's helped out at all? And do you see programs like that being a benefit for the football program?
Yeah, of course. I think people don't understand how important it is to like refuel your body and fuel your body, properly for whatever it is, practice, weights, conditioning, whatever it is. But I think those programs like that's really gonna benefit. It's also gonna benefit the future for guys who want to come in here, and now they can tell them, or whatever, we have 3 guaranteed meals, or you're guaranteed 2 meals a day, or whatever it may be. So I think those programs are big, and I'm glad that people are taking initiative and looking into stuff like that to help athletes.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your transition from JUCO to UH. Obviously, you joined local boys Kanai Piconco and Jason Matthew Sharsh as walk-ons in the Nick Rolovich area. You and Kanai played at Pima Community College together, if I'm not mistaken. What was it like to go through that journey with somebody who is going through it right beside you?
It was good. I didn't play with Kanai. I think he was 1 year before me, maybe 2 years before me, but it was still good just to kind of, it was something that you could relate to with somebody. So, it's a topic to bring up or whatever in the locker room. And it was nice to know that I wasn't the only one that went through that situation. And then, with Kanai, it was cool because he went to the same JUCO, so he experienced pretty much everything I experienced. So, we got to talk about it, and me and Sharsh, Jason Sharsh, we got close too, because we were able to, connect about things like JUCO. And then, like I said, those kind of guys, they paved the way too, because when you go through stuff like that, it's nice to look at somebody who's done it and then successfully. So it's to have those kind of guys next to you and with you inside the locker room.
So obviously you guys came together on a similar journey to be under the guidance of Coach Nick Rolovich and his staff. You have currently played under 3 coaching staffs. What was Nick Rolovich like as a coach, and how was his staff while they were in Hawaii?
I didn't really get to experience them too much. I had them for 1 semester, so I couldn't I couldn't really get too comfortable with them because I wasn't being like coached up. As I said, I wasn't eligible, and I didn't really get to experience firsthand. But I mean, from the little and short experience I had, it was good.
Yes. So Nick Rolovich goes to Washington State. Todd Graham comes in as the head coach
In our dining hall. And, yeah, Rolo was cool. He was able to connect with players and talk to them and joke around with them. So it was a good situation, even though it was a short time that I lived in.
Of course. So you go from a good situation to a really bad one. Obviously, Rolovich goes up to Washington State. Todd Graham comes in as head coach. How are you notified that he was hired, and were the players or the team given any say in who the administration was going to hire?
We're notified on our group chat about an hour, maybe a couple hours before it happened, and then our athletic director Matlin did give us some pointers, some suggestions as to what we looked for in a head coach, and yeah, he involved us in the whole process.
Gotcha. So now we're gonna jump into kind of the juiciest part of your collegiate football story, which is the Todd Graham era. We all know what happened. Obviously, you testified at the Hawaii State Senate that Coach Graham was "quote unquote" a tyrant. Could you go into more detail on why you made those claims against him?
I probably want to answer that one just because that one's all out there and stuff, and I don't want to go too much into depth about that.
Of course. Well, let's go to just the Hawaii State Senate in general. How did they reach out to you to testify in the first place?
That one too. I had some people just connect me with them, and one thing led to another, and then it was kind of just if you're willing to talk in that situation. But yeah, I probably won't say too much about that either.
Of course, I understand. Let's move a little bit forward. So obviously, during the Coach Graham era, you were removed from the team. You are now back on under head coach Timmy Chang. Can you talk about your journey on what it was like to try and get back onto the football team?
Yeah, it was kind of a rough situation just because I wasn't. It was kind of unclear if I was able to play football again. I knew that I wasn't going to go to another school or try to play whatever whatever situation I had. It was just going to be I was going to play at Hawaii or not play anymore. And it was rough just because I didn't know, like, I don't know, when I don't know things, I'm not certain about things, it kind of it messes with me, it messes with my head. So being in that situation of not knowing, am I gonna be able to play again, am I not, it went on for a few months, and I didn't really know what to do, honestly. So I just kept waiting it out. I tried to stay as active as possible. I kind of just would work out. I wouldn't really run or nothing like that, but it was just it was a weird situation. I didn't really know how to handle it. I've never been in something like that, so I don't even know how to like explain it, just because it's so weird. But yeah, that's I guess the best I can sum it up.
Fair enough. I want to go back a little bit actually because I interviewed Dior Scott, who was a walk on during the Coach Graham era. Was there a difference in treatment or per se environment, not even just under Coach Graham in general, but just from a D1 standard for Hawaii players compared to what you see in the mainland players when it comes to being a walk on?
You're talking about in our program?
Yes.
I don't really want to compare the coaches, but I mean, the best thing I could say is probably that, we have a rich history of walk-ons, and I think now more than ever it's really being embraced that, walk-ons can contribute here. But there's really no, I'll probably just leave it as that, actually. Just, there's a rich history of walk-ons here at UH, and I think now it's being emphasized a little more than the past.
Yes, it's very true that UH does have a great, rich history of walk-ons, legends such as Chad Owens, Rich Miano, amongst phenomenal and tons of names. let's talk about the current, current coaching staff when it comes to Coach Timmy Chang and his members. Obviously, he switched philosophies from Coach Graham in terms of recruiting a lot more local boys, guys from the West Coast. Has there been a kind of shift in culture? Do you feel like when it comes to the players itself?
Oh, 100%. It's night and day, I would say. You know, guys over here they want to play for Coach Timmy, and Coach Timmy wants guys to play for him. He's gonna give it to you as straight as possible. He's gonna tell you how it is, and he's gonna let you compete too. He's gonna give you chances, and he tells us all the time. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna not make a play. You're gonna mess up a play, but it's how you respond from it, and how you come back from it. So it's good. It makes guys want to play for him and want to make plays and want to do good, want to be the best they can be, and it's definitely a huge shift in culture, night and day, complete opposite.
Yes, and that was something that AD Matlin and the administrative staff was looking for in their new coaching search. Coach Chang's hire was one that garnered a lot of controversy due to the multiple names being thrown around in the mix. While you were watching that hiring process unfold, what were you thinking about as you were looking to make your way back onto the team?
I was just hoping that the next coach that came in after the former one, I was just hoping that he was gonna embrace the culture here at Hawaii, and he was gonna treat guys good and just make sure that everybody enjoyed being there and everybody was getting the full experience of Hawaii as a state and as a football program.
Yes, and obviously Coach Chang has made a bunch of changes from the Todd Graham era. One of the changes was having open practices again. What is it like to see fans in the stands while you're just trying to go about your daily routine?
That was awesome. I said it in another interview. Those guys are really the foundation. They motivate us, they boost us, they get our juices flowing. So it was good to just kind of let them know that they're involved and they're a huge part of our program. So it was good to see them in practices and even the Island Day experience. I mean, it felt like a real game. It was packed out and it was amazing. It was good, and it made me happy to see a bunch of people there supporting us.
Yes, it's been almost a revolution, you could say, with this new Brotherhood era. One of those things is packing the TC Ching facility. What is it like to play at the TC Ching in the spring game, actual games, comparing to Aloha Stadium?
One thing I noticed right off the bat during the Island Day, it was almost like a high school vibe, but in a good way, because a lot of football players that tell you that like high school, that was some of their favorite days, their best days, and it was good to kind of come out. It was Saturday night, but it felt like Friday night lights, and see a bunch of people there. Got the band playing, got a student section, and it gave you like a high school vibe, but definitely a lot louder and more rowdy than a high school game.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the great benefits of having TC Ching, as you can attest to, is the fact that it's right there on campus. The student section gets filled out. It seems, based off what we've seen last season, once that people are allowed inside. There's been talks. There's just been rumors that Hawaii should play some marquee home games in Las Vegas. Have you given any thought to that?
I really don't dive into those kind of things too much. I kind of just wherever we play is wherever we play. But I don't know, if it takes opportunity for Hawaii people to see us play, then I wouldn't really say I'm for that, but I mean whatever's best for the program.
Absolutely. And you guys are going to make your home opener come August 27th, Hawaii versus Vanderbilt. You guys are playing a team, an SEC team. What statement are you and the team looking to make in your home opener?
I guess just like any other game, the more you win, the more people support, the more good things happen to the program. So really, it's just a statement for everybody. Just prove that Coach Timmy is the guy, which he is, and yeah, no, nothing out of the ordinary, I should say. Just go to win and have fun while doing it.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your play in general. Going back to the spring game, obviously your name once the Hawaii State Senate inquiry ended had been synonymous with that and Coach Graham. However, recently what everyone's been talking about is your play on the football field. How does it feel to now have the attention focused on your craft, and also how does it feel to having elevated your game since you've been back?
It felt good. Just that whole situation, I felt like it kind of, I wouldn't say stained me, but I felt like, maybe some people got kind of the wrong idea of me. And that was another thing that was difficult to deal with too, just because, I feel like you can ask anybody that really knows me and they would say that, or I hope they would say that that I have, good character and I'm a good person. But it was difficult to go through that. And then, you know, it was nice to have a chance to compete and play football, and then not so much wash away the bad or the bad views of me, but it was nice to just, I don't know, play football and have fun and do something that I thought was going to be taken from me.
No, you make an excellent point, and of course, if you don't want me to ask, just let me know. But when I was reporting on the whole Hawaii State Senate inquiry and the Todd Grass situation, I was going off secondhand information, and I was just going off the things that you said in the limited time that you had to say it. However, once the inquiry ended, we didn't really get a chance to speak to you about that. How did that affect you personally, if you don't mind talking about it? And how did you feel that? Did you feel that there was a way, kind of going off what you said, about an image being painted about you that clearly wasn't true or clearly didn't have the whole picture?
Yeah, it was kind of difficult. Just, like I said, I felt like there was it was kind of half and half. Like, oh, good job standing up and speaking out, and then there's also like, the other side of it, and it was tough to deal with. I called some people before that whole thing happened, and kind of just got their input, and it was pretty much their advice was pretty much what happened. Said it was going to be split, and you might be viewed a little differently, and it was tough to deal with, just because I didn't know how I was viewed, and I didn't know how who viewed me in a certain way, and it was tough, but I'm glad things are trending in the right direction now.
Absolutely. Was there anyone that you leaned on for advice or just for support during that clearly difficult time?
There's a bunch of people, just family, and even teammates, family, teammates, and a bunch of people was there for me.
Yes. Let's talk about who's there for you on the football field now. Are there any coaches for this new coaching staff that you've connected with or that you feel close to at the moment?
Hey, Coach Josh Brown, my safeties coach, he's a character, that guy. I feel like he's real relatable, and as much as he jokes, is as much as he's gonna coach you up, which is good. It's a good balance. He balances it well of getting on you, but also you know keeping the mood light and not not being demeaning towards any players. And then Coach Yoro too. I already had a connection with Coach Yoro before, and uh, he's just somebody that he's easy to talk to, but at the same time, when it's time for business, it's time for business.
Yes. Coach Yoro and also Coach Eli Baby and are obviously guys that have been on the staff for a long time. They, like you, have went through so many things through multiple coaching staffs, multiple situations on your journey. One of the things you don't talk about enough is the 2020 pandemic. How did the pandemic affect you as a football player?
Uh, that's a hard question, just because I don't really have anything to compare it to, because the year before I was ineligible. But I mean, it was more like the social distancing things that everybody else kind of experienced. But it was like weird social distancing, and we had to do a lot of COVID testing, and also, the no fans in the stands, and that was just it was strange, just because a guy scores a touchdown or gets an interception, you really don't know what's happening. Like if it's on the other side of the field, you don't really know what's happening. You can't see it because the crowd ain't cheering. So that was the biggest thing. I mean, obviously football is gonna stay football, but it was more the outside factors.
And obviously, you had a commitment to the team with the pandemic, and your commitment to that team. Did that affect any interactions with your family in terms of social distancing or anything like that?
Somewhat. I mean, during that time, everybody was kind of on high alert. Even if it's your parents coming home, you don't know who they seen at work or who they came in contact with. So it was kind of just the usual, just keeping your distance as much as possible, and then staying away from big crowds, all those COVID restrictions and all that.
Yes, and to the credit of the university, Hawaii was one of the few teams in college football that didn't have to cancel any games due to a COVID outbreak. Is there anything that you can point to particular of why that occurred, or was it just you guys got lucky?
Well, no, actually, it was pretty strict guidelines that we had to follow. We were COVID. I know everybody's COVID testing, but we were COVID testing. I don't know, like 3 or 4 times a week, and then um, our athletic director was always stressing, keeping our mask up and not social distancing. We didn't have a locker room for like, I think almost those whole 2 years. I think we didn't have a locker room, so we really couldn't, get into big clusters of people and stuff like that. So they, as difficult as it was to be in that situation, they really kept their foot on us about social distancing for reasons like that. So we won't have to cancel any games, and everybody can get all the opportunities possible.
So, since you guys didn't have a locker room, where would you guys store your stuff, change, and do all the things you would typically do in a locker room?
Well, so TC Ching Field, they're in the bleachers on the home side. There's like a second level, a second floor over there, and we would all just have like our pads spread out, our pads and helmets, shoulder pads, whatever, pants, all spread out on tables over there. And that was like our makeshift locker room for a while, just because it was open, and that whole no enclosed areas thing was a big stressing point. So we had like a second level floor over there, and they had a big open area, and that was like our makeshift locker room.
Wow, I did not know that. That is very interesting. So
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say to that, but obviously it worked. And your journey has been one of many twisting and windy roads, but you're here. You're coming off a great spring game. You're about to go into the rest of your preparation for the season. What are your goals going forward as a football player?
That's hard. I know a lot of people talk and say, like, you should set goals, write down your goals and stuff, but I kind of just have the the mainstream or cliche goals. Just do my job, get in my playbook, stay healthy, and then make plays when they come to you. So I don't really have like a certain number of goals or things that I set upon myself, just because I don't know. I just kind of go with it, just do my thing, and I know that, like, if you do your job and you do what you're supposed to do, that whatever's supposed to happen is gonna happen.
That's absolutely. Before we go, I got a couple more questions. The last one for this line of that part of our interview: what does it mean to play for the University of Hawaii, to wear the green H on your helmet?
It means everything. As I told you, when I was in high school, even if I was a 4 or 5 star recruit, I really would have stayed home and played for Hawaii. So it really meant everything. I got to see highlights and people around me, like Leonard Peters and stuff. I got to see guys like that, and it really just makes you wanna follow their footsteps, and and then pave your own path after that. But it means everything. It's a place I always want to play, and I'm grateful that I get the chance to do it now.
And all Hawaii boys our age who had that dream always look to those 06, 07 teams of those great players. Was Leonard Peters the UH player that you looked up to, or did you have a different player that you idolized growing up?
Yeah, I would say he's the first one that comes to mind if I had to ask, just because, well, obviously we have the same first name, and um, I actually, when I played in the poly bowl my senior year, he was our coach, he was our safeties coach, and I got to really connect with him, and then he stayed in touch with me throughout my JUCO career, my when I first got to UH, and then that whole situation from last year. He really was always there, and he was another guy that I could lean on and talk to, and he's one of the first guys that come to mind. And then Torres, Richard Torres, I believe. Hopefully, I'm not wrong on that, but Richard Torres, another guy. And then even guys who didn't play at UH but are from Hawaii, Kaveh Johnson, Jeremy Owane, guys like that. It just makes me happy to kind of follow along their trail, and then hopefully I can blaze my own.
Yes, absolutely. And Leonard Peters will always have a special place in my heart. One for his absolute monstrous hit on the Arizona State quarterback in the 2006 Hawaii Bowl. And just the way he carried. Yeah, I don't know if you remember the hit I'm talking about. All I remember is that man's, I think his helmet or the ball, something went flying in the
That's
air.
funny. Yeah, I just seen that. I forget that Twitter. It's like the UH Memories football page or whatever. I think they just posted that a couple weeks ago. But yeah. He's always, when you talk about the greats, he's gonna be up there. 10 times out of 10 times.
Exactly. Hard hitter, talking trash to Reggie Bush on the sidelines. Great person. Leonard Peters is awesome. Unfortunately, one of the guys from that era, Hawaii legend Colt Brennan, unfortunately lost his life recently, and there was the memorial for him recently, which the team attended. Can you just speak about what Colt Brennan and that 07 team meant to you growing up?
That is the guy of all guys right there. I mean, if you know Hawaii football, that is the one person you can name again 10 times out of 10. And growing up, I think I was about 7 or 8 around that time, and that's when everything was going on with them winning, and the program was at its highest point. And he was like the president, like the president of Hawaii. And I mean, the things that guy's done for the program is unforgettable.
Yeah. No, you put it definitely. That man is, and forever will be awesome. And even now, I rewatch those games against Washington and Boise State, and always brings a smile to my face. Were you at his memorial, at his celebration of life, along with the rest of the team?
Yes, I was blessed. I was blessed enough to be there and witness that celebration of life.
Can you just speak on that for a second? Unfortunately, I live in Vegas, so I didn't get a chance to go, but it seemed like such a spiritual moment. Can you just talk about how that moment made you feel and what kind of occurred during that day?
Yeah, I remember when Coach Timmy talked, actually, and that's when it kind of hit me. I was like, man, everything just feels so right. The people here and the people speaking for him, just, I felt so right. And it was a crazy experience, and I think it was done correctly, because it was so big and it was so publicized. I thought that was very fitting for him to be celebrated like that. They took us out on the outriggers, and we got to see his ashes be spread, and you seen surfers paddling out, and canoes paddling out, and I think it was amazing, and it was fitting for that guy to have a celebration like that.
Absolutely, a well-deserved celebration of life for a phenomenal man and an incredible athlete. Before we go, is there anything that you want to say to any UH fans watching?
Make sure you guys come out and support us. That is going to be the driving factor for us. I know you guys can get it on pay-per-view and you can watch it on TV, but nothing beats being at the game. So, like Coach Timmy always says, he wants TC Ching to be filled out and packed and people fighting to get in. So that is what we need from you guys: support, and come out and watch our games.
Absolutely. Before we go, just some quick UH news. One, Colt Brennan's number 15 jersey has been retired. Hawaii does open up against Vanderbilt August 27th. and Cortez Davis, Gene Pryor, Calvin Turner are just a few of several players from the University of Hawaii that have signed either tryouts or undrafted free agent contracts. Leonard, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you coming on, and I can't wait to watch you play and see you again. I talk to you again.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Take care, and to everybody else, we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
All right. Have a good one.